Good morning, friends. Today we shall discuss the remaining lines of the sonnet Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, written by William Shakespeare. We have completed two stanzas of this poem, and now we will do the stanza number 3 and the last two lines of this poem, that is called the couplet. As we discussed yesterday, in the previous lines of these poems, that the poet wants to compare his friend with a summer's day in the very beginning. But then he gives up this idea of comparing his friend's beauty with the summer's day, because the summer's day is for a short period, is not lovely and temperate as his friend is. Summer's day is very harsh. The wild winds blow in summer's days, and they blow out all the beautiful flowers away, destroyed the beauty of the nature as well. Then in the second stanza, the poet also said that he also cannot compare the beauty or the friend of his with the sun that shines brightly in the sky. But the sun is also not permanent, because it is sometimes eclipsed by the clouds, it is sometimes dimmed by the clouds. Therefore, he cannot compare his friend with the sun. It means that the beauty of all other objects of this nature are destroyable, are disappearing, and is to be faded away. So he cannot compare his friend's beauty or his friends with these aspects of nature, that is summer's day and the sun, because his son's beauty because his friend's beauty is the permanent one, and he thinks that can never be faded. So let's see what he says now in stanza 3. By thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So the poet says here that addressing to his friend, that thy eternal summer, that is means your permanent summer, means here beauty. So your eternal summer means your permanent beauty shall not fade, shall never fade away, shall not disappear, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor you will lose ever the beauty that you have, that you possess. The beauty is something which is borrowed from nature, and when time comes, we have to return this beauty to nature, and that's why every beautiful object of nature is again returned to the nature in the course of the time. It means the beauty disappears in the course of time. It's also not permanent. But here, the poet or the speaker tells that his friend's beauty is permanent, and it cannot be taken away due to the course of the time. It is consistent, and it is eternal. Then he says, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in its shade. Then he also says that the death which is very powerful, very dreadful, here death has been personified. It is acting as a human being. So the poet means to say that even the death would not brag, thou wanderest in his shade. Death would not be able to harm anything to the beauty of his friend. That is, death would not be able to brag or drag him towards his shade. His shade, because the death here personified. So, अपनी छाया में अपनी तरफ डेथ भी जो है कि मेरे मित्र को नहीं खींच सकेगी. When in eternal lines to time thou, it means the friend will never die. If death is not able to kill my friend, it means he is immortal and he will never die. So he says, कि when in eternal lines to time thou growest, कि when you are growing in these eternal lines. So if you have been described in these eternal lines, that is the permanent lines of the poem. So if he is mentioned in the poem, in this poem, then he will be immortal. Death would not be able to harm anything to him, nor any other thing would be able to destroy his beauty. He will be permanent. The possession that he has, the beauty, lovely nature, that will not be bragged or withdrawn or killed by the death itself. So, his friend's summer is eternal. His youth is eternal. Here, summer means youth. He is young. He is beautiful. So, that is, he will be permanently young. He will never be old. This is what he says. The time will not make any influence upon him. Because why? The important thing here is that he has been described in these lines. So once you describe someone in the lines are permanent. The poem, here the poet means to say that the poetry is permanent. And poetry is a means of communication. Poetry is the means of remembering someone. Poetry is the means of conversing. That is the mirror of society. So, the poet's friend, who is young and beautiful, will be remembered by generation after generation through this poem. This is what he means to say in these lines. He is praising his friend's beauty directly. So, death, as I told you, here has been personified, and it will not, therefore, the death will not be able to boast. Boast, brag means proud, will not be proud, seeing the lovers wandering under its shade. So, the lover will be wandering under its shade, but death will not be able to harm anything to him. So, here death has been personified. He also opinions that death has always had an upper hand over life. We know death is very powerful, very mighty, very dreadful, always has an upper hand over the life. But he says that the beauty of his friend will live in his poem in eternal lines, and therefore the death will not be able to harm anything to else, not be able to lay hands on his beloved, as he is immortal. So the poet is here immortalizing his friend through the poem, through these lines. These lines are eternal, and definitely these are eternal. Even after 500 years, we have been reading these lines. The generations after generations have read these lines, and still we have been reading these lines. In this way, through these lines, we also remember his friend, his lovely friend, and in this way, his friend is immortal being, remembered forever. Okay? Now come to the last two lines of this poem. That is called the couplet. As I told you that it is a sonnet, It is a sonnet poem and it contains 14 lines. And we have 3 stanzas. Each stanza has 4 lines, and then there is the last 2 lines which is called the couplet. So this is the couplet, and in the couplet we have the conclusion. What the poet concludes, as in the previous 3 stanzas, he develops his ideas, and the idea was that he wants to compare his friend, but he gives up that idea, comparing his friend to summer and to the sun. And then he develops his idea by saying that his friend is permanent, death is not near to him, death can never kill him because he has been mentioned in these lines and will be remembered forever. And in this way, the poet is immortalizing his friend. So, see the last lines. So long as man can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So, again, in these lines, the poet is clarifying that how his friend is immortal and how these lines are making him immortal. These 2 lines are the couplets, and here William Shakespeare makes a prediction that this poem about his beloved's beauty will acclaimed throughout the ages till man lives on this earth. That is, his friend will be remembered generation after generation by the people live on this earth. As long as this life will go on, this life, and the life will definitely go on, his poem will be read by men and women throughout the world. Therefore, through this poem, his love will also live. That is, his friend will also live through this poem. So he says, so long as man can breathe, कि जब तक मनुष्य सांस लेंगे, ले सकते हैं, और आइज कैन सी, और आंखें देखती रहेंगी, अर्थात लोग आते रहेंगे, आंखें देखती रहेंगी, पढ़ती रहेंगी. सो लॉन्ग लिव्स दिस, तब तक तुम जीवित रहोगे, तब तक ये जो लाइन्स जीवित रहेंगी. एंड दिस गिव्स लाइफ टू दी, और ये लाइन्स ही तुम्हें जो है कि जीवन देंगी. अर्थात दीज लाइन्स विल मेक यू द परमानेंट, इमॉर्टल. So long man will come, generations will come, and they are alive there and they are able to see. Definitely they will read these lines, and through these lines you will be remembered, and this way you will be an immortal being. So the sonnet is the first in which the poet has mentioned the longevity of youth's beauty as eternal. So young's beauty, that is eternal, or that is long one, it can only possible through the poetry. Another important theme here is the power of speaker's poem to defy time, the immortality of art. That here Shakespeare wants to touch the superiority of the art, immortality of the art. He realizes that the art is immortal, art can never die. And if his friend has been mentioned through the art, through the poem, through the poetry, it means he will never die. Okay, now let's see some critical comments of this poem. That is, the poem begins with the speaker suggesting a series of similes to describe the young man. Earlier we have in the stanzas the similes. Similes, when you compare one thing to another, that is called a simile. Simile means उपमा, हिंदी में उपमा बोलते हैं इसको. अर्थात आप जब किसी एक वस्तु की दूसरी वस्तु से कंपेयर करें, that is called simile. So here the poet is comparing his friend's youth and beauty with the summer's day and then with the sun. But later on he gives up that idea because both the things are not appropriate to be compared with his friend. So beauty, he is more lovely and more temperate. That is, he means to say that the beauty of his friend is more lovely and more temperate than the beauty of the sun, than the beauty of the summer's day. The reasons he has already clarified. So instead of arguing that the young man's beauty exceeds whatever he is compared to, the speaker notes a dark underside to his own similes. So they suggest impermanence and decay. So the other objects' beauty are impermanent. They have to decay one day, they have to die one day, they have to fade away one day, disappear one day. But the beauty of his friend is the permanent. Therefore, he cannot compare his friend's youth with the other objects of nature. So, this is what he says. And then, however, as the speaker notes in line 9, thy eternal summer shall not fade. It means the young man's beauty is not subject to decay or change. His friend's beauty is not the subject to decay and fall, that is, to die or to change. It is unchangeable. In order to praise his friend, the poet needs to compare him to something that is itself eternal, that is, he makes him eternal. So, that is only through the art, like the young man's eternal summer, the speaker's lines, that is the lines of his poem, are similarly eternal. So, जैसे उसकी यूथ इटर्नल है, परमानेंट है, इमोर्टल है, उसी तरह द पोइट ये भी कह रहा है कि उसकी लाइंस भी परमानेंट हैं और इटर्नल हैं, और इन लाइंस के थ्रू जो है कि उसका जो यूथ है उसके मित्र का वो भी परमानेंट है. सो अनलाइक द समर और द सन दे विल नॉट चेंज एज टाइम प्रोग्रेसेस. सो जैसे सूर्य बदलता रहता है, जैसे समर बदलती रहती है, उस तरह से जो है कि समय बदलता रहेगा, लेकिन फिर भी जो ब्यूटी और लवलीनेस ऑफ इसकी फ्रेंड की है, दैट विल नॉट चेंज. And in this way, the poem itself gave eternal life to the young man. So long lives this gives life to thee. So here the poem is argument becomes circular. That is, the young man is not like a summer's day or the sun because his beauty is eternal. But his eternal beauty is itself a property of the poem. It is now the property of the poem that praises it. So there is the appreciation of his friend's beauty in these lines. And in this way, he attains a kind of permanence and immortality only because of the poem that praises him. So this is what we have the explanation of this poem, dear friends. And you are requested to make a critical appreciation of this poem so far the question is concerned, and also go through line by line and try to understand. Then only you will be able to enjoy this poem. Very beautiful poem and very interesting sonnet written by William Shakespeare. We will have I think one or two more sonnets written by William Shakespeare in your syllabus. So in our next video, we will have another poem written by William Shakespeare. Till then, bye bye. Thank you very much. See you.